What is up, everyone? 2 minutes in the box with Gordo. We are finally back. Sorry for the 2 week hiatus. This is episode 10. Reason why I haven't been here, I've had some weddings I had to attend to, been traveling a lot, some travel hockey games, blah, blah, blah. Been exhausted. I'm reignited, got some new energy, and we got some new latest intel into the NHL in the hockey world. Let's get started right about now. So remember the Nashville Predators, they went on a crazy spending spree the offseason, spending like 130 something $1 million in free agents like Steven Stamkos, Brady Shea, Jonathan Marchessault, re-signing, UC Soros. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Boy, what a waste of money so far. Apparently, the Nashville Predators are the bottom of the league right now, second to last. And Barry Trotz was on the local radio station yesterday. He is the GM of the Nashville Predators, but the longtime coach of the Nashville Predators. He had to say that if this thing doesn't turn around in the next month or so, they had to be thinking rebuild. Hey, didn't you guys draft a goalie, Yaroslav Askarov, a young promising goalie? Oh, yeah, that's right. You drafted him, and then you traded him to San Jose, and you signed a bunch of 30-something-year-olds because you guys had a freak playoff push because you guys didn't want to see a washed-up Bono at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed in Nashville. They are in the basement of the NHL. They are one of the worst teams in the NHL. It's a huge disappointment to me. I'm very bummed out. I mean, look at the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg Jets are the best team in the NHL, and they only spend like $7, maybe $8 million in the offseason. But here's the damnedest thing, the most goddamnedest thing about the Nashville Predators or the Winnipeg Jets, I should say, and the Preds. It's gotta be crazy that you spend the money, less money, and you're productive. And you spend more money, you're just, yeah, what a weird phenomenon. I mean, just wild and crazy to see that. And, the Winnipeg Jets, they have attendance issues. Like I'm surprised that, I remember when they got the team back in the NHL went back to Winnipeg, they were sold out nonstop. But due to COVID, inflation, economics, yeah, kind of screwed up the whole ride. And Winnipeg's only averaging 13,000 fans a game. Here we go again. I believe they won't relocate. Yeah, if this keeps going, this team might go to Phoenix. It might be like, what the hell just happened? Like, two separate entities basically just simply bounced from Winnipeg in two separate franchises. I have to say, Winnipeg better start. If I was Winnipeg Jets owners, I gotta make sure, I can learn something from the Utah Hockey Club and several other NHL and other organizations, how they approach, ticket sales and pricing and food and merchandise and all to make it more economically friendly. Speaking of economically friendly, what a night, what a night, what a night. MAGA. Yeah, that's how we play. Yeah, victory. Yeah, I mean, that's going to definitely help ticket sales, all over the NHL and all the major sports teams in North America. But Winnipeg, they're the smallest market. They've got to get it together for bring the fans back. I know Winnipeg's basically very rural. It's one of the smallest cities in the major sports industry. You've got to get your fans back by lowering your ticket prices and make it more economically friendly in their budget, what they can handle. I mean, come on, you just lost the Winnipeg Ice Western Hockey League team, and they were a number one team in the Western League, and the damn owners didn't have the money to build their own facility, and they just left town. You don't want to lose this because the Winnipeg Jets are a very good hockey team right now. You do not want to lose that team, Winnipeg. And the owners, they don't want to leave, but if this keeps up, you're going to lose that team once and for all, and Winnipeg may never come back to the NHL ever again. But get it together, make it economically friendly, to the fans so they can afford food, merch, and tickets and sales and all that stuff. But anywho, tonight, on on TNT, I should say, on TNT, Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings playing against the Chicago Blackhawks. Remember that game last year with Chelios banner raiser? That was a fun night. That was a fun night. And Patty Kane went top shelf on Peter Mrazek. And this game is prime time because, Patrick Kane is the heart and soul of the Blackhawks and the resurrection of the Chicago Blackhawks. And it's a fun matchup. I got to say, the Red Wings and the Blackhawks, they're both in the basement. The Red Wings, they're on, like, Derek Lalonde's on the hot seat. He's going to be gone by, the next few weeks. And I got to say, the Red Wings better to get it together. They've got a very good young team, but there's been rumors. I saw Joel Quenneville a few weeks ago. He hasn't heard anything about the Red Wings job. And to me, I don't think this Red Wing team is good enough to have Quenneville. I think Gerard Gallant's going to be the guy, but who knows? Steve Yzerman's seat's hot, but I just think a cheap owner on a rebuild, it's a hit and miss. It depends on the demeanor, on what players you're bringing in. I mean, the Red Wings lost so many good scouts, with Dallas and Tampa. I mean, they got to get it together. And as for the Blackhawks, though, if I were them, I'd keep Taylor Hall around. Taylor Hall is huge benefit for Connor Bedard's development. And I believe the Blackhawks have a good team. If they can build around and build up a little bit more, I believe next season will be better for the Blackhawks right now. But tonight's game, I'm going to go Detroit just because they are in do or die mode. All right. Now, let's talk about Kirill Kaprizov and Igor Shesterkin contract updates. So we're speculating that Kirill Kaprizov has got 1 year left on his contract. He's gained $9 million on average, and Shesterkin is got until free agency this offseason. And they're comparing the contracts to Leon Draisaitl, Austin Matthews, and I mean, I gotta be very cunning and calculative when it comes to these salaries. If I were the New York Rangers with Igor Shesterkin, I would give 8 years, 13, maybe 14 million. The only way you're gonna do it, you're gonna trade Trouba and let go another couple players. You keep Keandre Miller as well. You got to keep him. He's part of that core for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe. You got to be very, very smart with those salaries, Chris. It's got to be very smart. And for Billy Guerin, Billy Guerin's got a huge task in hand. If I were Billy Guerin, I would give Kirill Kaprizov $13 million, 8-year max. I mean, Kirill Kaprizov is the thrill. He's got to be one of Minnesota's best players of all time. He is one of the best players in Minnesota Wild history. He really eclipsed Marian Gaborik. He eclipsed Zach Parise. He eclipsed all those guys in one. Now, we got to tell you, you got to get these guys signed. You got to keep that unicorn in the cage. You got to keep that unicorn in that cage. All right, now, let's talk about tonight also. Connor McDavid, he's back in the lineup, playing against the Vegas Golden Knights. Everybody thought he was going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. He was just gone 10 days. And I believe Connor McDavid, he is going to make some noise. I wouldn't be surprised Connor McDavid gets 3, maybe 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. That's my prediction right there. And I think the Edmonton Oilers are going to win this one today. But I'm looking at their standings right now. I'm looking at their numbers. It is horrifying to see that the runner-up is 6-6-1 in the first 13 games of the regular season. I mean, 13 points. I mean, they're tied with Utah. That is kind of like, okay, then. That's kind of a stretch and a struggle. And who's also struggling right now? It's the Boston Bruins. Bill Lindsay said something very interesting on NHL Network. He's a good friend of mine. Billy Lindsay said that he thinks David Montgomery, the coach of the Boston Bruins, if he doesn't turn the ship around and gets this team back to subpar, he is gone. And then the Florida Panthers just destroyed David Montgomery. Wasn't David Montgomery the runner-up to become the coach of the Florida Panthers back before Bob Bugner came into the fold? Oh yeah, he was. That sounds familiar. Oh yeah, totally makes sense right now. Yeah, it makes sense right now. And I'm looking at these numbers, and I'm going back to that Nashville Predator panic. I mean, good God, second worst team in the NHL. Philadelphia is like tied like point wise, 9 points each. It's just like an abomination. Jeez, I mean, like I said, money doesn't run the world or rule the world, but jeez, that is brutal. And now let's get to the Anaheim Ducks situation. The Anaheim Ducks are talking about trading Frank Toronto, Cam Fowler, and Trevor Zegras. There's not been enough bites, but certain teams like the New York Islanders and the Detroit Red Wings and maybe the Chicago Blackhawks could be looking for some firepower to boost up their team. I like to see Zegras and Fowler on the island. Zegras will be a perfect fit because they need some excitement. They don't have the goal scoring. Barzell's hurt. Duclair's hurt. And they need also a power play specialist defenseman and Cam Fowler on the back end in the island. They need the help immediately on the island. And Detroit, they could definitely use it. Pittsburgh, Sidney Crosby's like turning back the clock. He's been playing spectacular. The Blackhawks could definitely use that help all around. And I'm looking at these numbers. Anaheim is basically fifth worst team in the NHL with a 4-6-2 record. I mean, Jesus. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. And I'll tell you, they got to get it together. And speaking of Philadelphia Flyers, the Philadelphia Flyers, Ristolainen, he is on the trade block, and the Philadelphia Flyers are looking for a first-round pick. A first-round pick. Yeah, I like to see that. Philadelphia is the worst team in the NHL, and Ristolainen hasn't panned out with the record and stuff. It's not pretty in Philadelphia. Tortorella's seat's getting hotter by the day, and Philadelphia needs to get together. They have a bright future with Michkov. I believe that the Flyers are still in the rebuild mode. And the Seattle Kraken, Gord, and Tanev, they are on the trade block as well. Seattle's the sixth worst team in the NHL, and their goaltending is not helping with Grubauer either. I think the Kraken are going to be trading like crazy, and it won't be a surprise to see, those three getting traded in the near future. It won't be a surprise. Seattle's still a young team. They're the youngest team in the NHL. Is the second youngest. Sorry, I forget. Utah's expansion. Arizona will get their team back in the next 3-5 years from now. Yeah, I think that Seattle's got to get some picks and get building. And I'll tell you, Dylan Holloway, I'm sending my prayers out. Glad he's okay after having a puck hitting the neck area. It was a freaky, scary scene, but glad he's up. He's energized, and his family was there, and God was up by his side, and he's okay at the best part. All right, and now we've got the Montreal Canadiens. Very interesting situation. Montreal is a tough place to play and to coach. Marty St. Louis, he was summoned to coach, and he was coaching his kids' team when he got hired by the Canadiens. And I love Marty St. Louis, talented, very smart type of hockey coach and player, but I don't think he is fit to coach in the NHL. I think he's a great assistant, but they need someone who's got some balls in there, who is intense, who can handle the French Canadian media, to do English and French. You've got to have someone who can handle the chores in Montreal. And I'll tell you, I would hate to play there. Yeah, it's not about the fans and all that stuff. Oh, I lied. It is about the fans and the pressure, the media, and everything, and the taxes are high. I mean, it's a tough place. It's a historic Original Six franchise. you've got to have the balls to play in that city, especially Toronto as well. You've got to have the balls to play in that market. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the next one we talk about with David Savard, we've been hearing that he will play for the Canadians still, but in a reduced role. Seems compromisable, and Montreal is a young team going to be rebuilding. They are the fourth worst team in the NHL. They need a goalie. I mean, they have never been the same since Carey Price left and Shea Weber left and that crazy Stanley Cup playoff run. But I'll tell you, Montreal, it's a long road to get back to respectability and back to the top of the world. It's a tough climb. Some people can handle the altitude. Some people can't handle getting up there because that view is boring and depressing. Some people like it. Some people like, you know what? I achieved it. I'm going back down to reality, up to those gravity. And now let's talk about the Boston Bruins with Trent Frederick. The Boston Bruins have Trent Frederick available as a trade commodity. Yeah, you heard it. Trent is going to get traded. The Bruins are looking to get someone in return, young and vibrant, or they're going to get some draft picks. I like Trent. He's very vibrant and aggressive. And I think the Boston Bruins are that team that's going to be, rebuilding this year. It's not pretty for them. The Panthers, like I said, they broke them. The Panthers just mentally broke that franchise twice. I mean, don't forget the third time. Like the first time was in '96, back-to-back 23 and 24. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and Gabriel Landeskog, the guy hasn't played in the NHL since winning the Cup in Colorado in 2022. His knees are set back. And I've been saying this for a while. I don't think he's ever going to play in the NHL again. He had a great career. He did his job, but his knees have given up on him. And it's a setback. And it's very unfortunate. The guy had talent and he was a great leader. But that knee injury that he sustained, if I was him, I would hang it up. I would get a job with the Avalanche, and he just had this injury is impossible to come back from. I'm sorry to say this, but it's not looking good for Gabriel Landeskog. Yeah, and for him lifting the Stanley Cup in 2022, I believe this was the last time we would ever see him in hockey equipment and in a Colorado Avalanche uniform. Sorry, it's over for him. And now we're talking about the players that made impacts with their new team so far this season. All right, so we talked about Thomas Hertl and Casey Middlestat. They were both trade acquisitions just past season. So Thomas Hertl went from the San Jose Sharks to the Vegas Golden Knights. So far in 18 games with the Vegas Golden Knights, 6 goals, 16 points in 18 games. He has still got some life and fight in him. And and I'll tell you, it hurts the Sharks a lot because they gave him up. And I know the Sharks are going to be a rebuilding team for the next several years, but what a steal for the Vegas Golden Knights. They got the contract right. He fits in perfectly, and he's got that playoff experience that any team is looking for. Casey Middlestat, former first-round pick by the Buffalo Sabres. He's a great playmaker. I love the way he plays. His hockey IQ is sick. It's intense, and he's got a great two-way game. He has moments in Buffalo. He was brilliant. He was no bust in Buffalo. Buffalo is just like a weird, dysfunctionally team that no one could understood. But I'll tell you, Casey Middlestat, 31 games. He got traded for Bowen Byram. And that was a great trade for each side. And Casey Middlestat had, and so far in the Avalanche, 31 games, 10 goals, 25 points. He is a great playmaker. Like I said, he's got a high IQ when it comes to the power play, and he can be a great primary assist guy. I like his game a lot. And Stefan Noesen, he played for the New Jersey Devils. what a bounce back year he's having. 15 games played so far, 6 goals, 13 points. He is almost a point a game. He's been playing spectacular in his new home in New Jersey. And the next guy, Sean Monahan, man, he had a long road of recovery. He had, like, everyone thought his hip was shot, his career was over. He came to Columbus because he felt reignited, rejuvenated, to go be playing with his best friend, Johnny Goodrow, who sadly passed away. We still love you, Johnny. We love you. We love you, Johnny and Matthew Goodrow. And Sean Monahan's playing for Johnny. 12 games played so far, 6 goals, 11 points. This guy, like, he is playing for Johnny. I mean, if Johnny Goodrow were around, I believe Sean Monahan's stats would be like top 10 in the NHL. I believe Monahan would be like 16 points in 12 games right now if it weren't for the untimely passing of Johnny Goodrow. We love you, Johnny. We miss you every day. And Tyler Toffoli, he's been playing well with the San Jose Sharks. 14 games played, 6 goals, 11 points. I know it's just a crappy team for San Jose, but he's looking better advertised. He's helping Macklin Salabrini, Will Smith, and Eklund. I think that, with his leadership, I think that he's going to be their top player in the organization right now. I mean, the best player on the ice statistically for the next several seasons. But Macklin Salabrini, he's been out of the lineup since opening nights. He's got a goal and assist, but it's gonna take some time. He's got to get back to the groove. Salabrini was hurt, and I see that San Jose is going to have a bright future with the cast of players they've got. And I'll tell you, Kevin Lankinen, so far with the Vancouver Canucks, 8 games played with a .923 save percentage, with a 2.09 goals against. Very impressive. And then the Stanley Cup champ backup goaltender Anthony Stolarz for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's played 9 games so far with a .928 save percentage with a 2.12 goals against average. And I love his mask, what he's got behind the mask. Behind it, he's got a slogan that says, "Prove people wrong. Prove those doubters wrong. Overcome the obstacles," type of thing. He is a true warrior. I like the way he showed himself, and he's got the squid from Rocket Power in the back right now. He's like stretching out like he's Gumby. He's like making good saves. And I believe that Joseph Woll and Stolarz, those two could actually, if those two play like they are doing right now, I wouldn't be surprised that the Toronto Maple Leafs can make a deep playoff run with those two goaltending tandem. And they got a superstar team. And I believe that Toronto could be a dangerous team, with the tandem they've got. They've got all the tools and everything else they got. And okay, tonight's games, we're going to be very intrigued about who's playing tonight. Nashville Predators against the Washington Capitals, 7 o'clock. Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks on TNT at 8 p.m. and 8:30 Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. Those games right here, and I got to tell you, here's my predictions. If I was Barry Trotz, you got to scare your players. You got to get them running and gunning. The Washington Capitals have been a very hot team so far this year. They're at 8-3. I will go Washington on this one because they've been having a strong start to the regular season, and they feel like they reignited their team. Ovi's on a mission. He's 30-something away. He's like 35 goals away to getting the Wayne Gretzky's record. And they're on a mission. I'm going to go Washington Capitals on this one. Detroit Red Wings and Chicago Blackhawks. I'm going Detroit. Patty Kane, he's going to do it again. I would not be surprised that Patrick Kane does it again against his former team, the Chicago Blackhawks. And then you got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to probably go Vegas because I see Vegas, they got the better record. Edmonton, they just got McDavid back, but who knows? I could be wrong on this one. I think McDavid's going to get 4 points. He's going to get 2 goals, 2 assists. That's going to definitely help boost, the lineup a bit. And I would say this one will go overtime. Connor McDavid gets the game winning goal. That's no surprise right there. And if we miss anything, I'm going to go over it. Let's see. Let's see. Cal McCarr out, injured. Kaprizov got hurt, came back. Tyler Johnson, former Stanley Cup champ of the Tampa Bay Lightning, signs a 1-year deal with the Boston Bruins on a 2-way deal. And we mentioned Dylan Holloway escaping a freak neck injury, and so on and so forth. All right. This has been 2 Minutes in the Box with Gordo. I'm your host, Gordon Maxwell. We'll be back with a brand new episode tomorrow. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. And God bless you and God bless the USA. Love you all. Have a great rest of the day.